Malaria is because there is a lot of holes that are left there, and when it rains the water corrects in, and so it's building the bleeding process for mosquitoes. And then typhoid is because people are used to taking the water directly from the river and they don't boil it, so it's contaminated water.
Mara moja, we found one of the diseases that is really affecting people is the HIV and AIDS. This is because there are many people intermingled within them. There are youths, there are other cultures that are there, and we find people are really having this disease and they don't want to speak out so that they can be given the solution to it. And also another disease on the other side of the hill is Roruko, where asthma is really affecting the people. They told us that one of the reasons is because when there is cold months, they really experience that because maybe they don't have enough air, and their houses are not that ventilated well. So they have that problem with their lungs and their respiratory system.
Ringworms, because we saw some children with the round worm, the signs of ringworms, the round worms at the head.
For example, there was a woman who we went to, and we told her what we were doing, and we really went kindly to her, but she would not respond. She would just say, "No, I don't know, and no, I can't talk in Swahili, neither can I talk in English." And still, she was talking in Swahili, so we saw she was not willing.
They were fearing when also we were taking them photos, because they're asking, where are you taking all these photos? Will you bring them back to us?
So when you go maybe to interview a person, or maybe is struck by poverty, something of that, and then the person will just ask you, what have you brought to me? Have you brought food? Or what do you want to give me when I answer you my questions?
In my community, and the community that is around us in school is like almost the same, and what you are going to do here, are the solutions you are going to get here, is what I'm going to do again at home.
Like when you get a wound, they don't go to hospital, they say you can urinate on it and it can get healed. So hygiene.
Next is that we met one health worker who was really insisting on asthma problem. He said that this was contributed to the alcohol brewery, but when he was talking, you could smell the smell of alcohol from him. So you were asking yourself, what's happening? He's like burning alcohol, but he's still taking alcohol. How can he be a good leader to people if he is also doing what he's telling people not to do?
For the first time we had questionnaires, and they were open-ended, so they could answer anything they wanted to, and we could note down. But the second time we went to ask, we had closed-ended, so where they had to say, the options were limited, they had to say either yes or no. Yeah. The open-ended worked better because they could give all they had, but for the closed-ended, I think some of them were not very sincere.
Okay. We gathered this information every day when we went out. We came back as a group. We had groups, and we summarized the information, and later we shared with the whole class. And after this, we went to some girls went to the doctors, and they consulted the doctor, and they were told if that is true or not, and what to prevent and to treat.
I liked the PBL project because it helped me to gain my courage and confidence about asking people and talking to people whom we have never interacted with.
We are creating awareness between us and the community. When we socialize with the people and then send information to them and also send the information to us, and I think that there is a very good relationship is going to be built between us and them.
Something else that I liked is the fact that in the long run, the students and also us, the facilitators, we end up getting so many skills that you didn't know they would have been part of the project, but you find that you really need them.
We were this eager to have an English lesson since we had it like 2 lessons. We are all almost taken by PBL, and then now the double lesson here it came, and then teacher said you have PBL again, and then everyone was
because it was time consuming, and also you had to work a lot because you don't have only to interview one house, you have to go to many houses and you are working, so it was most tiring. Then come back to school, you need to do the homeworks, you need to catch up with what you have lost for the day.
We didn't map it as we should have, and that may have been a factor that made teachers feel like, oh, I'm in this stage, but until I consult this other teacher, I don't know if I should continue or not. So the mapping aspect is something we've got to learn.
In future, I want to be dealing with people and maybe learn their problems. And you know, some people don't like sharing their problems, and there's no way you can help people if they don't share their problems. So you have to learn ways that you can make them maybe share with you their problems, how they can trust you that you're not going to tell other people.
Maybe I will own a certain big business and I want to employ others. So I have to interview them, give them questionnaires, and they will answer it. If they don't answer it, I'll help them because I've learned this thing before.
A typical class is where a teacher will stand in front there and students will sit and listen. And a lot of it is listening and writing. But this is where all of you are learning. It's so different from a typical class because you are not a teacher. You're just facilitating all the activities happening.
Yeah, like combining all the subjects in the PBL. It's like one class, but it is involving different subjects like biology, English, and also geography.
Because everyone is given opportunity to talk, and most of the time we work in groups.
I think it is giving us a space of discussion, since now the monotony of class where you cram, you do this and this, when you now have the time out, your mind is able even to think widely than only in class.
I learned that I can change the community by maybe educating them about some of the issues they don't know that can affect the community. I also learned that I'm very courageous since I didn't know that I could talk to grown-up people and ask them about their lives. So
I think we have not yet specialized in technology yet, since we have only used cameras, which everyone has been introduced to, but things like computers, no.
Do not do this well without getting in touch with the other students who are back in the US. And so there has been a lot of email exchange. Today evening, we are hoping that the girls will be in a position to do a Skype session with the other student back in the US. So that is, technology.
I think they should use like the videotaping so that you can take the person who is willing, because there were people who are willing to give all the information but you couldn't capture everything. So on writing, so you need something like someone is videoing and someone is writing. I think so.
Technology wise, we should get up to date, because I personally feel like it's very, very, very slow for the students to have to consult people to type up, to put all that together. I wish it would be easy, possible to have every person, get all this information, bring it, put it together and have it ready for whatever publication.
We thought that this project was only based in biology or sort of science thing, but we also came to know that it is related to business, geography, and also English in sometimes.
Yeah, it did. In geography, for example, it helped me to revise and know more about the field study.
So I think the signs and symptoms we saw in people outside there can help us to really remember it in biology.
The retention is so great. You cannot compare when you are told versus when they find out for themselves. Like sooner than later, we should have a project, or we should have a session, a workshop, that will expose teachers to what is PBL, what really is required of a teacher to do a project in a class setup, so that we can have, teachers do this, even not in major projects, but they can have smaller projects in their classes.
I think this project shouldn't end. It should continue even if it's for a year. And even though it will end, we should start another one even if it is in Form 3.
If it would be possible, I would like the project to continue up to next year for the Form 2s will be there, but not necessarily two, but something connected to our project, so that they can show the people in the community that they are still mindful about them. For I think this year is not enough for them to change. They need more time for them to change and have good health for our project to be successful. That is.